Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's a bit of a mosh today on Wednesday, middle of the week. As you can see, I got the stumps ground a couple days ago, and let me tell you, one stump equals about a ton of wood chips. It's amazing how many wood chips were left over, but now I have a lifetime supply. I got to figure out, get rid of some of them, spread some around. But we got a few things to talk about today. Let me show you some of the stump grinding process. It was very amazing. Now, it's nice when you go with a professional company, they come with the big stump grinder, and there are bigger ones, but this one was a perfect size because it could get in there, and look at them carbide teeth and the controls, all hydraulic. It wasn't too loud, it wasn't annoying, it was just a nice machine to watch, and it's very kind of mesmerizing to watch how this machine works. One thing interesting is they do take it 10 inches below grade or ground level, so they go down. There is 10 inches of a hole left, which is great because you could fill it in with some topsoil and plant right over it that day, so you don't have to worry about tripping over or hitting it with the lawnmower or something. And just a nice job they did. Now, one thing you always have to count on is you will have an abundance of chips left over from the stump grinding, but that's good compost. So thankfully, everything went off without a hitch, and I have to tell you, that machine is awesome, isn't it? A stump grinding machine. There's nothing worse than trying to remove a stump with a with an axe and a pry bar and a crowbar. Oh, it's just, there's two ways to do it. One is a stump grinder, and the other one is old-fashioned dynamite. That's a nice way to remove it. If you lived on a farm or something, years ago, you could go to the hardware store, pick up a couple sticks of dynamite, and if you made it home, you just drilled a hole, lit the fuse, and ran. And it was like a long enough fuse because, you know, the farmers, they're not in running shape, you know, so they put on like a foot of fuse so that they could kind of, nothing like tripping about 20 feet away from the stump when the dynamite's in there and the fuse is lit, tripping into a gopher hole and, you know, hoping that that's far enough away. But dynamite, if you ever seen a stump dynamite, it's a lot of fun. I don't think they approve of that here in the city. I doubt it. I didn't look it up, but I doubt it. Anyway, we have a couple things to talk about today. First of all, I got a really cool acquisition. Check this out. I bought a master lock, because, you know, I collect master locks. I bought a master lock advertising clock. Check it out. And it lights up, and look how pretty that looks. Isn't that nice? Got that on eBay score. Wow. I love that kind of stuff. I love, especially when, you know, when you collect something and you get the advertising and the, you know, like clocks, and companies don't do that. Some companies, and we'll talk about that this week or early next week, I have a company that just drops the balls when it comes to advertising. They're losing it, and it's a shame because it's a good company. So we'll talk about that later. Next up, we have the pipe wrench that everybody wanted to see. Let's get right to that. Okay, for today's project, this is the Walworth-Parmelee No.1 pipe wrench. And what's so interesting about this, it's that they still manufacture this wrench today. Although they dropped the Walworth, it's now Parmelee Pipe Wrench, or pipe company. And what they do is they manufacture these wrenches almost identical to the 100-year-old design. And you could see here they have the original patent. They have a nice website. These tools are guaranteed for life, and it's such an interesting wrench. Now, when I picked this up at the flea market, I didn't know what it was. I just said, wow, that is cool. And of course, I realized it was some sort of pipe wrench. And what this is, it's basically, you remember most pipe wrenches based on the Stilson design was meant to grip pipe, but it does mar the pipe a little bit. The teeth grip in. Well, this is meant that it will not mar the pipe, and I'm going to show you how this works. But before I do, we're just going to clean it up. We're not going to do an over the top on this, but we want to get this nice and clean it up. So let's get to it. This came with different size heads. You know, you would pop out this pin here. This pin pops out. You just tap it out. There's a little ring. I'll show you how that works. And then you would put different head sizes on for what pipe. It's meant for like black pipe. And so let me show you. Let's clean it up and we'll see how this thing works. Now to remove the head, a quick tap on the one side of the pin. Pin comes out. You can see here there's a little split ring on the one side of the pin. And this comes right off. And then you would put, depending on what size pipe you're working, different heads. And now we're going to take this all apart to clean it up. Now you can see that's all there is to it. It's only a few pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. It's a beautifully simple, well-designed wrench. Now this is considered a rough casting, you could see here, because, and they're going to paint it, so they don't, you know, it's actually good to adhere the paint when they make it a rough casting. But, you know, if you want to do the tool up where it has some character and, you know, a little fun with it, we're going to polish this. They couldn't do that at the factory. It would be too cost prohibitive and it would cost a fortune for the wrench for them to spend that kind of time. But we have nothing but time here, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this down and put the red in there, and let's continue with that. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what this wrench looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Oh, this one came out so nice, and it's such a beautiful wrench. It's just so well made. Let's take a look at what we did. You know, we took off the paint, and then we took off the casting marks and the forging marks, and just made this a beautiful, smooth tool to hold. Kept everything the way it was, except the and look at that. Look at the Walworth-Parmelee writing on there. With the Scoutcrafter red in the inside. On the back here, it says Walworth Manufacturing, Boston, USA. However, they are in New Jersey now. Everything is nice and smooth. This is done with lithium grease in here. You can see how that works, and everything, all the rust is taken out of here. And you didn't polish this because this has some kind of gripping. Any kind of casting has gripping, so you can see how that works. Let's test it out and see how this beautiful wrench works. Now, like we said before, anytime you use a regular pipe wrench on here, you're going to get markings, striations, grips. This is made actually from the clamp. This is part of a clamp, these striations. And some fields you're in that you have a pipe that can't be damaged, like in the oil and gas industry. That's what these tools were made for. They're used in the oil and gas industry, and also you know, anything that you don't want marred. So you can see that they have markings on here that says 3/4 inch. You can see it again, 3/4 inch. That's for 3/4 inch black pipe, which this is. And how this works is you take the tool like this, you wrap it around here, and this little lip goes in here like that, and then you tighten this up here. Once you tighten this up and give it a good tightening, that is solid. It is not going anywhere. It's not slipping. I'm turning the pipe. I'm not slipping. But it is just a beautiful purchase on there. Isn't that nice? And it will, you can push it this way. If you loosen up just a little bit, you can have it so it slips this way and grips this way if you had to make a turning pipe. But notice when we remove it, there's no marring from here, because this is all smooth in here. So this is just a fantastic wrench. This was the most expensive wrench that I bought that day. Actually, the most expensive tool. I spent $20 on that wrench, and which is a lot at the flea market, but it screamed of quality, and I'm glad I did buy it. I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite all-time wrenches, and when I did come home There's nothing worse than spending $20 for a wrench and coming home looking on eBay and seeing dozens of them for $8 or something. But I was pleasantly surprised with the prices that these were going for. They do hold up their value, and it's a wonderful wrench. And if you ever see one at the flea market, pick it up, because they are quite collectible and very nicely made. Anyway, thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.